ability to retire with grace and with dignity. We look forward to hearing from you as it relates to your experiences around the importance of Social Security and Medicare, and look forward to talking to you about our efforts to make sure that we protect these incredibly important programs and strengthen them for generations to come. So thank you for, again, welcoming welcoming us into your home here at SEIU 2015, and I look forward to our conversation.
Now, next I'd like to introduce Gabe Montoya, a healthcare worker at Kaiser Downey, where he works as an emergency tech, and he's a member of, proud member of SEIU-UHW.
Good morning, Leader Jeffries. I appreciate you coming here, and I appreciate our other representatives for coming in today. Representative Garcia is literally part of our extended family at UHW. Yes. Representative Barragan has stood next to our workers at St. Francis, and so we know that the caucus has been really part of working with healthcare workers. So, you know, my name's Gabe. I work in an emergency room over at Downey, not too far from here. And although I'm not a retiree, I can really talk about what it's like in the actual field, the practicality of Medicare and what it means to our patients. So, you know, part of the work that our union's doing right now is to really dealing with a staffing crisis across California with healthcare workers. We are short like almost 500,000 healthcare workers.
My God.
And in large part, the reason why we're seeing this healthcare shortage is because we have one of the largest generations in the United States retiring or retired, the boomer generation, right? Mm-hmm. And so what we're seeing now in the emergency room is because we have a staffing shortage, compounded by a lot of the economic issues that our seniors are dealing with. We're seeing the emergency room becoming a regular place of treatment for a lot of our retirees, right? For a lot of our folks on Medicare. How important Medicare is, because we hear the stories about how these patients don't know how they would get by without it.
That part.
They don't know how they would make it to the next month and day without the treatment and care they get through Medicare. And so for me, as an EMT in the field, I think it's insane that in 2023, we are having to really fight back cuts against Medicare when we have the largest generation in American history needing that vital care today.
That part.
And I not only talk to you as an EMT, but I'm talking to you as a son. I have a mom who's been diagnosed with Parkinson's who lives with me. And I'm seeing firsthand what seniors go through.
All right.
My mom was a Teamster, right? She has a small pension. My mother's not wealthy, doesn't own real property. She lives with me. And even with that, my mom would still need to pay $1,500 a month to have an in-home healthcare worker because she had the audacity to be a union member and have a pension.
Right?
That tells us of where we're at, right, on healthcare. I hope, Representative Jeffries, that we can really dig into what healthcare workers are going into the field and understand what the practicality of losing this service can have on seniors. And even my generation, we're fighting right now to raise the minimum wage for healthcare workers to $25 an hour. And let me tell you why. Because most of our workers don't have money to save for retirement. Most workers don't have money to save up to pay for their pharmaceuticals when they turn 65. My generation trying to figure out how to make rent and pay a car note, much less save, right? And so I think, I think it's good that we're having this conversation because healthcare workers can really offer a lot of understanding of what it's looking like in the field today to make sure that everybody understands we are not just numbers, we are human beings, and the loss of Medicare and actually not expanding Medicare coverage is literally going to take people's lives.
Yeah, part.
Right. Thank you so much for keeping it real and telling the reality of this.
Breaking
And
it down.
thank you to all the healthcare workers and all the caregivers who have bravely held down the front line during these past few painful and challenging years that we've had.
I now want to yield to the other members of Congress just to share brief reflections. And we've been joined by the distinguished gentleman who represents this community in the Congress, a fighter for you all,
Yes, he
Representative
is.
Jimmy Gomez.
Good morning. Buenos dias. ¿Cómo están? That's right. First, let me just thank Leader Jeffries for being here and all of you for being here. But when I say you're my brothers and sisters, you're more like my mother and my father.
Amen.
And what happens to you matters to me. Right? So when Republicans say they're going to, balance the budget without raising taxes on the largest corporations, and I don't believe that they say that they're not going to touch Social Security or Medicare, that means a 70% cut on every other program. We can't allow that to happen.
No way.
So I love listening to you because I get here and I get fired up,
Come on now.
right? Because I'm like, we need a care economy that values people. Because this is the fact. You cannot replace somebody who gives care. Nanette, who was taking care of her mother, my mother, who was taking care of other seniors. You can't replace that with an app or a computer. That must be done by people. And that's why we have to put more money and resources into that. And this gentleman right here is the leader of the Democrats who's going to get it done. So with that, I yield back to the esteemed leader, Hakeem Jeffries.
Thank you, Jimmy. I'm going to yield to a good friend of mine, and a good friend of all of ours, and the chair of the powerful Congressional Hispanic Caucus in Washington, Nanette Barragan.
Okay.
Buenos días, ¿cómo están?
Bien.
Thank you everybody for sharing your story. Gracias, sí. I have 5 different IHHS caregivers in addition to me in my household. So I know about the struggle and how hard it is for you. And know one thing, we have a leader in Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who is leading us Democrats, in fighting for you, for your Social Security, for your Medicare and your Medicaid. Because we know what's gonna happen. If they slash Medicaid, that means less people who may even qualify
Right.
to be on IHHS, to get in-home care, to have that dignity. And you know what our budget is? Our values. So our values are fighting for working folks like you, our union folks. So what we do matters. Who represents you matters, and who is in charge of the House matters.
Yes.
And that's why we're here today, to tell you, number one, that we're fighting for you. We're fighting to protect Social Security and Medicare. Don't be fooled what the other people are telling you. And we're gonna keep up that fight. And como dice Rosa, sí se puede. Sí se puede. And with that, I'm going to yield to my colleague from the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, one of our vice chairs, Mr. Tony Cardenas.
Thank you, Nanette. Gracias. Yo soy hijo de inmigrantes y me da mucho orgullo decir eso. Yo nací aquí en Pacoima, aquí en el Valle de San Fernando, y yo soy el último de 11 hijos. Mi mamá se quedó en casa cuidándonos por toda su vida, y también mi papá trabajaba 1, 2, 3 trabajos para tener lo que necesitábamos como una familia de 13 personas. I'm the youngest of 11 children. My parents are immigrants. I'm very proud to say that.
Right.
My father worked 1, 2, 3, 4 jobs just to feed, to make sure that the family of 13 had everything they needed. My mother stayed home to take care of us 11 children. She had the tougher job. She had the tougher job, especially with the youngest one, me. But I tell you that because now, as a first-generation American citizen, I had the opportunity to run for Congress as a citizen of this country.
Amen.
I'm not saying this in a partisan way. I'm saying that because it's a simple fact.
Area.
Republicans want to reduce the dignity and the livelihood of the masses of people in our country. And they could care less where you end up. And it is personal. Andres and Maria Cardenas are no longer here, my parents. And that's what Social Security is supposed to be for.
Yes.
And that's what Medicare, Medicaid, and all the programs that the Republicans want to cut massively. And we're not going to let them do it. Under the leadership of Hakeem Jeffries, and the Democrats in the Senate and President Biden, we are not going to let them do that. We are not going to let them do that. Thank you.
Hey everyone, how are you doing?
Hey.
It's good to see so many friends. Gracias por estar acá todos ustedes. I want to first just thank our leader. He's done a great job of leading us as a caucus, and of course to Congressman Gomez, who represents us, and for hosting us. So thank you very much, sir. But most importantly, to all of our SEIU sisters and brothers, it's an honor to be in your home. I'm part of the SEIU family. My mom was a SEIU-UHW member, very proudly so. And I'll tell the story. A lot of you know that my mom passed away during the pandemic. And she was a healthcare worker, strong immigrant woman, brought me here as a little kid, as an immigrant myself. And one of the things I'm most proud of, and when I think about us as an SEIU family, is a couple of years before she passed, she came to me and said, "Mijo, están organizando un sindicato en el trabajo," that they're organizing a union at her work. And my mom is always barely would get raised with me. So oftentimes, I remember she'd get a 25-cent, raise. And she, she says, "What should I do? Should I join? Should I help with this union?" And of course, I said, "Absolutely, Mom." I said, "You've got to go in, talk to the organizer, be a part of it." Her and her 8 other nurse assistants, she'd been working at this clinic for 25 years, became a group of women, black and brown women, who became the first members of their group at the clinic, of SEIU-UHW members. And so after that, and I was very proud of her, she proudly would wear her SEIU colors, of course, always rocking the purple. You all know I'm as a member of the SEIU family, I'm always going to roll with you no matter what. And so I'm just happy to be here with all of you. I'm glad the leader is here. And I think the last thing I want to leave with all of you is I want to thank all of the locals and just the SEIU California family, because there's no union that does more and stands up more for the undocumented and immigrants than SEIU. And this is a coalition. It's a coalition mostly of black and brown workers, AAPI workers, and you're always standing up for those that are undocumented. And as a formerly undocumented person, I just want to thank you for that work, and it's really a sense of unity. So thank you all very much. And with that, I want to introduce one of 2 freshmen in the new LA delegation, which we both are, and she's rocking out already. And that's of course Congressman Kamlager, Sydney.
Leader Jeffries for coming out to California and for hanging out with SEIU. I know they always treat you right, and it's of great pride that we're able to show you how strong we are with our union family. And I haven't been in Congress very long, but I can tell you that these folks don't care about women, they don't care about workers, and they don't care about wages. Republicans, these people, these Republican people, these Republican people are thieves. Shame on you, Republicans, to put workers in jeopardy. Shame on you. So you know that they better not come for y'all. Because you know they don't want us coming to them. And everybody up in here got Vaseline that we can slap on and fight the battles that need to be fought in Washington, D.C. So I just want to, I'm sorry, Leader Jeffries, I get a little, but I just have to let you know how personal it is and how important it is that these stories continue to be shared.
Let's do something about it.
So thank you.
Thank you.
The other side fights for the privileged few, but we fight for the people.
Come on now.
We fight for the people. For organized labor, for working families, for the poor. For my first job, I was a messenger in Manhattan, going from office to office, dropping packages off. And I think I made maybe $3.35 an hour. I was in high school. When you're in high school and you have a part-time job, you of course, or at least I was told, that I wouldn't make enough that I was required to pay income taxes. Income taxes.
That's right.
So I'm looking forward to getting my full check. And then I get my check. And I see some taxes were taken out. It said FICA.
Right?
And I remember saying to myself, who is FICA? What's his last name? And why is he taking all my money? But the reality is, you have worked for your Social Security and for your Medicare. You've earned it. And so we want to protect it, and we're going to strengthen it.
Yes.
And so together, we're committed to making sure we continue on your behalf to stand up,
Yes.
to show up,
Come
to speak up,
on now.
and make sure the extreme MAGA Republicans back up off of your Social Security.
Hear
number.
it.
Thank you so much.
Woo! Drop the mic with that.
Again, thanks everyone, thanks for attending, thanks to all our